So a very warm welcome to all of you again to DakshinaChitra. We were very lucky yesterday to have such a fabulous introduction by Professor Shiv Kumar into the life and works of K G Subramanyan, and we're equally lucky to have him today here, and we're very thankful that Naveen was so generous. As you can see, so many originals. We got 108 originals from Calcutta, and he also is giving it to us for a long period of time, for 3 months, which allows us to immerse and do a range of programs. Of course, we're doing the art mediation. We're also doing work with the model school. So thank you, Naveen and Professor Shiv Kumar, and thank you, Jaiveer, for your support. We'd like to inaugurate this exhibition with some music. So we have Vedant Bharadwaj, extremely well-known musician, who's going to sing for us in Bangla and in Tamil. So with that, over to you, Vedant.
Start with a song written by Raghunath, where he says, how do we move on from these barriers, all these barriers we've created, social, political, how to be just, how to be one with the Lord, how to attain that eternal bliss. Sadimadam samayavenum sanganam vittaye, Sadimadam samayavenum sanganam vittaye, Sathirache raadugindra sanchalam vittaye, Sadimadam samayavenum sanganam vittaye, Sathirache raadugindra sanchalam vittaye, Adi anda nilayariye, alayariya kadal pol, Adi anda nilayariye, alayariya kadal pol, Ananda perumbogathu amathiravum, Ananda perumbogathu amathiravum, Needideli nadadariye, சோதிமணி பொது நிறுத்தமிடம் பொருத்தத்து கருத்தை அறிந்தேனோ, நீதி நெறி நடந்தறிய சோதிமணி பொது நிறுத்தமிடம் பொருத்தத்து கருத்தை அறிந்தேனோ, ஏது சார் உலகனிடை எங்கனம் நான் கூவேன், ஏது சார் உலகனிடை எங்கனம் நான் கூவேன், யார் உரைப்பேன், என்ன செய்வேன், ஏதும் அறிந்திலேன்.
Our hearts are really overflowing. Thank you so much, Vedant. Thank you so much for that. Naveen, may I request you to say a few words?
Hello, few words. No, I just wanted to thank you, actually. You've been talking about how generous we've been, but actually you've been the generous one. It's such a beautifully hung exhibition and very thoughtfully done, so thank you. And this is his 100th year, so we've been trying to celebrate, do different kinds of things, publish books, and there's also a lot of exhibitions happening where people, like Professor Shiva Kumar and others have been curating, putting together, and they're sort of hopefully traveling different parts of the country. And I think this Pondicherry has one, and now Chennai has one for 3 months. This is the first 3-month exhibition, and I'm so glad to see everybody's here, and that over time a lot of young people will get to see this wonderful man's work. And we've shown here before, if you remember. So, yeah. Yes. Thank you.
We're absolutely delighted to have this exhibition. K G Subramanyan had come earlier, and he's such a wonderful man, not even just an artist, but as a good human being. and a very creative soul, of course, as Shiv Kumar pointed out to us. And we hope that all the young people and everyone will enjoy this exhibition. We certainly have enough visitors, so he'll get wide exposure. And anyway, welcome to all of you, and glad that the exhibition is opened. Thank you.
Thank you, and we are so greedy that Professor Shiv Kumar is here, so we have requested him and he's kindly agreed to do a short walkthrough because no one knows the works as well as Professor Shiv Kumar, and we'd like to use this opportunity to learn more because we also have the art mediating students. So over to you now, Professor. You can choose where you want, you can where you want to begin, where you want to end. It's yours.
Yeah. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and be part of this beautiful exhibition. Well, I think rather than walk through, maybe I will tell you a little bit about what art is, you are going to see in the exhibition. Now, as an artist, Subramanyan also always believed that an artist has to connect with his immediate world, and that if one connects with one's immediate world, it adds to the possibility of communicating with people around you. But in the modern time, an artist is not just located in one place. He moves from place to place. So such an artist, when he moves from place to place, he probably connects with different places as well. So while he lived in India, and the work he did the other day, I was talking to Naveen, probably we could also do an exhibition of what he did in Shantiniketan, what he did in Baroda, and other places. So probably we will see how he responded to each of these places, what came into his work, what went out, and so on. And when an artist also travels, it's not as if the place he comes from or what he was doing before just disappears. It's like, we moving from year to year. So we might say that, okay, in such and such an year I did this, but when you do that in such and such an year, something of what you did in the previous years also gets extended. So we have here his works from 3 different locations across the world. The first part is what he did, or what we did around his visit to the United States in 1966-67. And there were a few things that he had started doing even before that in some of the paintings, which in 64, 65, he had already started certain things. He had started looking at spaces in which people live and the kind of drama that happens. Which you can't completely name, which you can't completely decipher, but you see bits and pieces of the theater of life when you look into the interiors with figures and so on. So figures interacting with figures, figures interacting with objects, and so on. When he moved to the United States, he lived in a multi-storied building with over 500, the Lincoln Towers in Manhattan, and with more than 500 families in this huge building with little, as if it's like everything is like a window. And through each window, you have a little peep show of human life going on. And many of these works that he did had an element of that, where you don't get the whole story, but you get bits of human life through gestures, through colors, through kind of thing. Now, there is one of those works, reproduced here, which is a polytype, which is a group of 9 small canvases, each as if looking into one of those windows. Like every apartment is like a little window of things happening. Now, this is true that of even our normal lives, even if it is not the Lincoln Towers, but even in our own little houses, you maybe look at somebody in the next room and you get to have the same experience. So all the works which are here in this room is related to this kind of experience. It's also telling you that you don't see life in its totality, but only as fragments. And we are trying to read meaning into fragments of things. So, and he tries this out in various ways, but at the same time, before he went, after he came back, he was also trying to make woven sculptures. So some of the same elements gets into things. Some of the drawings are related to those woven sculptures that he was trying to do. Some were related to other paintings like this, which he was trying to make while he was there in the United States. So this whole group of paintings in this room relates more to that kind of experience. Now, the inner room has 2 sets of drawings. One which he did when he went to China in 1985. And next year he went to Oxford for a term. So these were drawings that was done there. The Chinese drawings, that an interest in China was something that was already around him even while he was a student. All his teachers, and especially 2 of them, Nandalal and Binod Bihari, had great interest in Chinese art. And Binod Bihari had a lot of personal experimentation that he did with the calligraphic and the kind of ink paintings that the Chinese do. So, which was something that Subramanyan had shared with them. And he had a lot of interest in Chinese art. But so when he got a chance to go there and look at the world around, he almost paints in a manner that is similar to theirs, to like how the Chinese would use the calligraphic style to paint images. So it produces images which are totally different from what he produced in New York. And you can also see certain things happening. Almost all the images there are from close distance, as if close to the surface. Now, which is here, it's like a little peep show going on, but there everything is closer to the surface. Now, because he didn't stay there, he was actually traveling. So almost every day he was going to a new place, and the Chinese Artist Association had invited him. So he traveled towards the western frontiers, then moved, then went to the east, then came down, and so on. So he traveled across China in about 3 weeks. So more or less on the move continuously. So he didn't sit down and work there. He made dotting, scribblings of what he saw. And you can see some of them were done probably when he came back in the evening to the hotel notepad, he scribbled those things. And then when he came back to India, he did a lot of ink paintings with those things. Also some larger paintings on glass or perspex, reverse paintings, some directly on paper or canvas and things like that. So we have also reproduced a couple of those things there you can see in the exhibition. Now, the Chinese experience in a way lingered with him a little longer because he had this interest in China and Chinese art much before. And so the experience and what he saw there and his interest lingered. So he continued doing some of these things almost till 1987, when he was already in Oxford. So it lingered a little thing. And there was another reason for that lingering, because in Oxford, his neighbor was Michael Sullivan, the great historian of Chinese art. So they had conversations, and so in a sense, his immediate engagement which he had with China and Chinese art, in a sense, lingered on at Oxford. Now, he had a place to work in Oxford, so it was not like, in China, traveling and doing sketches and things like that. And when he was in China, actually, just a little before that, there was the British artist David Hockney had gone there, along with Stephen Svender. And Hockney also made similar drawings when he went back. And you have a book of Hockney's Chinese visit, which he did, and the kind of text written by Stephen Svender. So you have these kind of thing, two artists from two different cultural backgrounds making the same route, because I think they were also invited probably by the Chinese thing. So the route was almost similar, but both these things. So this was there, and then it continued because there was Michael Sullivan there. And in Oxford, he had a studio in the attic of one of those, the Oxford Museum of Modern Art, thing on the top of that. So that's very painted. But what you see there, you can see also the views changes. Certain ways of doing or drawing also changes along with that. There is more perspectival depth, for instance, which he is working within a culture which has that element. So that comes into his painting. Although they are done very closely, one after the other, that just moving away from China and to going to Oxford changes the way he's looking at the world in a way. And so elements of that culture, their visual culture, also enters. But he's not fully a man of that culture either. So he looks at Oxford through the eyes of a fictional character. The drawing of Inayat Khan. Inayat Khan, as you might know, was a courtier of Jahangir. And he was also a great opium eater. So his body wasted, and he couldn't come to the courts anymore. But Jahangir was very interested in knowing what opium eating did to this man. So he gets him to be brought to the court one day, and he was completely almost a skeletal figure, and Jahangir got his artist to draw Inayat Khan, and one of those drawings is in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford. So he uses Inayat Khan as a kind of stand-in figure who is looking at Oxford. Who is no more a participant in the life, and who is detached, and who is probably, not in a position even to participate in that life, but looking at it with great relish. So that is what you see. There's a celebration of that life, but he is also, as always, a critical viewer of things around him. So he also did paintings while he was there, which is celebrating, sometimes also ironically commenting on the life in the Oxford surroundings. All kinds of people are there, some, which may not be here, of the punks, who were around. There were other things, political events that were taking place. For instance, the Ethiopian famine was actually, happening a little before, but the international world discovered it at that moment, or became aware of it at that moment, through the reportage of BBC, which followed a lot of things, and then how the British public reacted to this. Even when they reacted with sympathy, they reacted in rather what he thought very ironic manner. So he did things on that. He commented on other things. There was a lot of discussion about, child abuse in England at that time. And so there were paintings that commented on those things. So it's not just the visual experience and a celebration of the beauty, the color, the life on the campus and around it, but it is also a critical response to some of the events unfolding at the same time. So this is pretty typical of Subramanyan. And so you get a glimpse of how an artist interacts with different spaces, different cultures, and how not only in subject matter, but also how he interacts with in terms of the languages that may be connected with those cultures. So have a look at all the 3 sets of works. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Shivkumar. I just want to add that we have an audio tour of the exhibition in English and Tamil. We also have a Braille version that is available. And of course, the books, the children's books are, sort of made larger. We want to invite families to come, spend some time and immerse themselves in the exhibition. So welcome, enjoy. There's tea and snacks outside. Thank you.
তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে, তবে একলা চলো, তবে একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, তবে একলা চলো,